Welcome to another Fanboy Film Nerd Galaxy Class spoiler review, and this is one of the films I was looking forward to for a very long time, going really all the way back to 2007 when the first Transformers movie came out, which happens to be my favorite Transformers movie out of that whole Michael Bay pile of shit that it gave us overall. I liked Dark of the Moon as well, the third film in the franchise, but Revenge of the Fallen is a horrible film. Only half of that movie is good, and that's giving them a little bit of praise on even that half that it's good. And Age of Extinction, okay, and The Last Night is complete garbage. It's bad. I mean, it's one of those movies you can watch if you just like nothing else on and you're like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to take it seriously at all. But they even had the nerve to set up a sequel after that, and what we got was Bumblebee. And we'll talk about how Bumblebee plays into The Last Night in the Age of Extinction, Dark of the Moon, and how it just kind of detaches. When you get all the way back to 2007, in Bumblebee, it has a weird arc that kind of connects and does not connect at all. It's very strange. But let's get into this review. Now, I'm going to do this a little differently. The first part of this one, I'm going to just do a normal review, non-spoiler at all. I'm just going to give a quick 5-minute review on it, and then I will let you know when we go into spoiler territory. So if you just want to check out the normal review, this would be it right here. And the first part of this, like first 5 minutes or so, would be the just normal review. I will let you know and give you time to get out of this review when we go into the Galaxy Class spoiler review. So let's hop into this one right now. Let's talk about Bumblebee. It's directed by Travis Knight, who did Kubo and Two Strings. Now that is a movie, if you've seen it, you realize the flair and the style that this guy has when it comes to directing. So when it was announced they were doing a Bumblebee movie, especially coming off of The Last Night, a lot of people thought that this movie would suffer from the fatigue of this franchise going on another movie one too long. Bumblebee's not directed by Michael Bay, it's directed by Travis Knight. Travis Knight can direct. He has a good flair for storytelling and narrative and knowing how to edit and put things in complex ways where the narrative actually has a story, which was lacking in nearly all of the Michael Bay Transformers films. There was no story. It was horrible. And if what story they did have, it didn't make any sense. It just, you were just like, give me the Transformers. And then in most cases, they didn't even do that right. So in this movie, going into release knew we were going to get a good story. They brought it back down to its roots. I thought it looked a lot more like something Spielberg, which Spielberg has been an executive producer, quote unquote, on these movies. His influence on them, I think, went away after the first one, because there's no way in living hell Steven Spielberg was signing off on some of the things Michael Bay was doing to a large extent. Now, obviously he's involved with these films, but not on a level where you feel like the Spielberg isms is rubbing off on the director. I felt the presence of Spielberg in this Bumblebee movie because it feels a lot like E.T. It felt like the 2007 Transformers film meets E.T. That's what it felt like to me. And everybody say little things different, but you're talking about a young person with an alien. So I thought that worked well. Now the cast here, now which is crazy. Now Hailee, I hope I'm saying her name right, Steinfeld. Maybe it's Steinfeld. I'm probably butchering that, but never seen her before. Outstanding. Cast perfectly for this film. I really can't see anybody else who... there's people that could obviously play this role, but I don't know if it would have fit right with this universe because of her dynamic with her family and the little boyfriend lover interest she had in the movie and the relationship she had with her brother and her father in the film all worked really, really well. I thought that worked well. But the star of the movie is Bumblebee, obviously. So was he done right? This is the best Bumblebee we've had, I think, since the very first movie to the 2007 Bumblebee. And I thought Bumblebee has always been the highlight of all these films, even the Michael Bay films, and along with Optimus Prime, where you really can't go wrong with them, with those two characters in a movie, which is why they highlight them so much, which is why The Last Night sucked, because you didn't have Optimus Prime in the movie, and when he did come in, he was basically a freaking a Decepticon. So, I mean, you really, formula, if you want a good Transformers movie, maybe you should keep Optimus Prime in the movie, right? But I thought this movie did a very good job of Bumblebee being Bumblebee. Now, one of my pet peeves, if I can throw one out in this movie, and I'm going to get to what I think about this movie overall in this little quick review. I have had enough of the Bumblebee not being able to talk shit. It has gone on so long where he talked in the first film. People forget about that. They fixed it, and then he took it away again in Revenge of the Fallen, and he didn't speak again until Age, this last one, The Last Night. I've had such a horrible time dealing with that. I just don't like it. I think you are taking away a very important part of Bumblebee because they treat him more like an animal. He's like a dog. He's a puppy dog. He can't talk. He's hilarious. He's funny. They're doing to him what I'm thinking they're doing to Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, where you have a strong, powerful character who you're using just as primarily comic relief, and then he'll kick ass here a little here and there. But most of the time when Bumblebee is on the screen and in these movies, you're looking to laugh, and they do this puppy dog, I'm a fish out of water effect to him, and it drives me fucking crazy because if you watch the old cartoons, and when I get into the spoiler side, I'll talk about Gen 1 and all that, and why it's so important that he talks, and he's a little less puppy doggish and fish out of water and more how he is. He is a badass character. When Bumblebee decides to kick ass, he kicks ass. He is not a puppy dog. You just take the size of him, and everybody's just like, oh, he's little, he's smaller. He's a fucking car that transforms, has guns and cannons in his hands. This dude's a fucking alien. Stop with the puppy dog bullshit. That's just me. But, one of the pluses of this movie, they do go back to the Gen 1 designs, and I did love that. They simplified them down to, look, I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in 79. I went and saw this movie at an advanced screening a few weeks before the movie even came out on December 8th, which is my birthday. It was my birthday present to me. My son was there with me. We had a blast watching this film. The Paramount executive was there. They handed out little Transformers, like these little fucking toys that they handed out to everybody in the audience. It was awesome. I mean, there was it was a true Paramount screening of a movie that is not out yet, and it was awesome to go to see this movie. So everybody in the audience was very excited about this movie. We had a great time watching it. The Gen 1 designs of it, the audience, there was a shitload of people my age, like 30 and older in this crowd. I mean, the true fans of Transformers went to this thing, and there was applause throughout the entire film just on design alone. So there was a lot of fanboys in the audience, but this was just also a very good film. The story of this movie is very deep, and Charlie Watson, who plays Hailee, does such a good job. I mean, this movie really focuses on her. I haven't really added a lot of the cast in there. You got John Cena's in there. You got John Ortiz is in there. You got a lot of other people in there. But there's two other characters, the Transformers, which is Dropkick and what was the other one? Shatter? I guess that was her name. Angela Bassett is the voice for her, and Justin Theroux is the voice of Dropkick. And you've seen them in the trailers of the blue and red Transformers that are looking for Bumblebee. They were really good. They're really good. And they're literally the only Decepticons you really get to know in this film. There's some other sequences from the trailer that's a little misleading. You think you might see a little bit more of Cybertron and fighting and stuff in there. It's in there, and it's good, but it's not the focus of the story. And it didn't have to be, because the name of the movie is Bumblebee. So we're here to see Bumblebee and his relationship with Charlie, the girl in the movie, who just does an outstanding job. But her backstory, with what happened to her dad and her interaction with her family, all good stuff. It was a very, very heartwarming film. There was a couple times in the film where I actually started tearing up. And I'm talking a couple meaning 3 or 4 times, to be honest, where I literally, my eyes were watering. They never came down, but I got really fucking close. And I was not expecting that in this movie. I would say for me, because I'm a Transformers nut job, it's one of the better films I've seen this year. It's definitely, if not the best Transformers movie they've made so far. For me, it's my second favorite. I like the 2007 one. Still, it's one of my favorite films of all time. I just love that movie. And I like Dark of the Moon. But I like this one a little better than Dark of the Moon. And actually a lot better than Dark of the Moon. The way that they film these Transformers and the focus of them, the simplicity of it, the 80s vibe of the movie, all the 80s music, the dress, the wardrobe, the editing of the movie, it's a beautiful, beautiful movie. John Cena, God, man, that dude cannot act, but he fit well in this movie, but he's horrible. That guy I would never get over this guy being an actor. I just can't buy it. His head is so freaking big. He's just in there, but he's hilarious. He fits really well. He's actually probably my favorite character in the movie, to be honest. Outside of Charlie, I love her. And Bumblebee's awesome. So, that is the normal review. That is the spoiler-free review. I would say go check it out. When it comes out, again, I went to an advanced screening, so when it comes out, check it out. You will not regret it, especially if you liked even a fucking fraction of the other films. You're going to love this one. So I'm going to give you a moment here. Let's get into the Fanboy Film Nerd Galaxy Class full spoiler review starting right now. You heard all that, so let's get into it. There were some other things in this movie, and again, I'm going to stress here, this movie does not come out for another couple weeks. If you are watching this and you don't want to stew on 2.5 weeks worth of fucking spoilers, do not watch it. I'm going to go in hard on this one, okay? One of the things I loved about this movie, the 80s, that's my favorite decade. I grew up in the 80s. I have a lot of memories from the 80s. I lost my father when I was 14 years old. So in this movie, Charlie's father dies. If you don't see it in the film, he's already dead when the movie starts. And she's a diving champion. And it's her 18th birthday. And her mom is remarried. She has a brother. And then that little core, her mother's kind of moved on with this guy. And, and Charlie is kind of still very depressed and going through the motions in life, trying to deal with the fact that her father's not around anymore. They were very, very close. They were working on a car together. And to kind of get over that, she works on cars and she sees this Beetle and she wants to pick up this Beetle, take it home, work on it, give her something to do, gets her out of the house, get her to stop focusing so much on her father. And she ends up finding out that this Beetle is, of course, Bumblebee, which starts at the beginning of the movie. This movie, again, I went to an advanced screening, so there was no build-up of the trailers or anything. Movie just starts, right? The movie was so fresh. Now, this theater I was in, I have never been in this theater. I'm an AMC person. I'm AMC A-list, and if you have an AMC theater around you, go get yourself the AMC A-list, $20 a month, 3 movies a week, completely free. Discounts on food and popcorn. You gotta get. I'm only got to see this movie this weekend because of AMC A-list. It's the only reason why I can afford it. I took my son was there, his mother was there. We all went together. It was my birthday, so we just made a little night of it. In fact, I didn't even know his mother was going to show up. I had 3 seats, and she decided to show up for my birthday, and we had a very good time. It was actually a very good time. At this advanced screening, because you sit down and like I said, the Paramount guy was there and he was serious as shit. Hand the guy the thing, the format of the theater, the screen. Normally they adjust it. They didn't even adjust it. It was a little distracting because you had these big black bars on the side of the film, but it was okay. I mean, you're seeing Bumblebee when nobody else is, so it worked out. What I liked about it though was like, again, you knew you were in the theater with people who generally went out of their way to want to be at this screening for this December 8th, 7 o'clock p.m. showing. And the anticipation of it was cool. And the lights went down and the manager came out and she was handing out freaking, like I said, these little bags with these little Transformers toys in them. We ended up giving them to our son, so he got 3 of them. But it was just a cool night. Paramount really hooked us up with shit. It was nice. It was a really fucking cool thing to have the Paramount agent actually, like, he comes down, he's like, okay, you're about to watch Screen of Bumblebee. Made everybody turn off their phones before they would even lower the lights. It was like checking to see if everybody's fucking phones were on, like turn them off. So it was freaking weird. And I've been to a lot of screenings, advanced screenings. That was the first time I had like a representative actually, like with the briefcase. He's got the film in the briefcase. He's walking. He's like, here you go. And then I'm not leaving until everybody's like out of the theater. They had after the movie was over, they had a freaking it was like a presentation of how they made the film, exclusive presentation, like behind the scenes of how they made it. It was pretty cool night. I mean, they really gave you your money's worth for this advanced screening, and it really wasn't that expensive to me. I got in free. I paid like $3 for my son, and for his mother's ticket, I paid. So it was cool. It was really inexpensive. Actually, the concessions cost more than our tickets, so it was actually pretty cool. But recommend A-list, and this is one of the reasons why. But I love the fact that I knew going into it that the energy and the location of this theater, it was, it's downtown, close to downtown St. Louis where I'm at, and the energy was just cool. Every time something funny happened, even, this audience wasn't like bullshitting. So when the joke was funny, people laughed. When it wasn't, nobody laughed. If there was something to applaud, people applauded. It got a big applause at the end of this movie, and it deserved it. It was a really good movie. The movie opens up on Cybertron, balls to the walls, people getting shot at, and it's Prime is the first one you see. I mean, it's like Prime and Bumblebee are going at it against the Decepticons, you see a lot of that little trailer that they put out. A lot of that is in this opener. Now, the trailer is a little misdirection deceiving because you feel like there's going to be more of that. But basically, what you see in that trailer of Prime going against Shockwave and Starscream and Soundwave, all that happens in like literally 3 minutes. They cut back to it a few times to kind of expand it, but for the most part, what you saw in the trailer, that is the extent of what you're going to see on Cybertron. It is not about that at all. That whole sequence is setting up Bumblebee getting off of Cybertron and going to Earth. And once he lands here, he's powered down. He gets attacked by a freaking... which everybody thought this was Starscream. And I was like, I don't know if that's Starscream because, again, we went back to the G1 designs. And they're very authentic to the G1 toy designs and cartoon designs. And the Gen 1 designs are, like the block styles, very minimum paint, like just like Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime, blue and red, right? This is like, Soundwave had the freaking, he's a radio, Shockwave had, everything was just completely authentic. Bumblebee was a freaking Beetle, right? So when I saw that jet plane, I'm like, well, that isn't the Gen 1 Starscream. And Starscream, Megatron's my favorite Transformer. Starscream is my second favorite. I love them. I'm a Decepticon guy. But I know so this guy was not Starscream, this jet thing that Bumblebee is fighting with. But this guy does damage Bumblebee's vocal cords. Bumblebee talks completely different than we all thought he talked. And he talks for about 5 to 10 minutes in this movie. And he sounds like a young guy. And the actor's actually a young guy. He's just a young guy. He talks like he does in the cartoons. He's just like a Transformer. So when he gets this ripped out of him and he can't talk anymore, that's what, again, I'm so over the whole Bumblebee can't talk shit. Because it worked well in this movie. And I appreciate it for what it is in this movie. Him not talking in this movie helps this movie. Because once he meets Charlie and she's trying to figure out how to interact with him and what he is, I thought that worked well. I thought it worked well with Sam in 2007. But if you want to say this is a prequel to Sam 2007, that would be 2 movies in a row where he's basically doing the same thing. I'm playing a puppy dog. So if you watch this movie and watch 2007, that's 2 movies in a row where you watch a puppy dog walking around, fish out of water, and it makes no sense because if you've been on this, the fish out of water shit that they were doing in 2007, this movie kind of fucks with that a little bit because when Optimus comes down, you assume that this is all their first time here on Earth. And it's not. But you knew that after the other movies because you were like, okay, well, Megatron was stuck in the ice. Sentinel Prime was on the fucking moon. You had the Fallen knew about us from Revenge of the Fallen. Then you start talking about Unicron. Clintessa, it's just like they keep on adding on to each movie that, yeah, we've known. And then Age of Extinction, the dinosaurs were wiped out by Transformers. Like we had Dinobots, so you go back millions of years ago. But we expect you to believe that the Transformers only knew about Earth in this movie, this Bumblebee movie, now. So it's almost like they rebooted the movie with this. Because timeline-wise, it makes absolutely no sense. Because Optimus is like, go down to Earth, Bumblebee, and protect Earth until we get there. If the Decepticons find this planet, they're going to destroy us. And you're like, what? The Decepticons... And so you're like, well, maybe they don't know... Like, maybe the Decepticons know that Megatron's already here. Maybe the Decepticons already know that, like, the Fallen have been here for thousands of years. Maybe the Decepticons already know that... that the aliens that built them had already been here since the dinosaur age. Nope. The Decepticons come down and they're like, what is this place? Can we use our phones to... They basically said that like the Decepticons made the internet when they came down here. So if that's the case, you're like, what the fuck, man? What the continuity now is even worse than ever. And if you take in the Last Night, there's a freaking clip where Mark Wahlberg and them goes to meet Anthony Hopkins and they say Bumblebee fought in one of the world wars. He was like fighting, right? But then they said in Bumblebee in the 80s, it's the first time he's ever been to Earth. So which one is it? It's fucking annoying. It's just because a lot of people thought that the Bumblebee movie was going to be about him in World War I and the World War II and some of the other world wars and and how he got to be up to where Sam is. And then they're saying, no, his first time here is 1987, where this movie takes place. First time he's ever been here. And in the movie, clearly, first time he's ever been here. Optimus, first time he's ever been here. Optimus is a freaking truck when the movie starts. He's on Earth. They're on Cybertron fighting, and you got like Earth stuff. Like there's planes flying around, there's helicopters, there's fucking a Earth radio. You know, it's like Bumblebee's it makes absolutely no sense that they're already like that. Now, I think a lot of people are gonna say, well, Optimus Prime wasn't a truck on Cybertron. He was just blue and red. And he's a block style, and they are not transforming. To their credit, I will say this: when they're on Cybertron, nobody transforms. The only person that transforms is Soundwave when he lets the cassette tape out. But that's about it. He's not a radio. So they're the color and they're the style of it. So I will say this, to their credit, the first time you do see Optimus Prime, because he does come to Earth, he is a truck. Bumblebee is not a beetle on Cybertron. He's a butt car. He's just yellow. So they're just taking their colors and putting them into these things. But that's kind of strange too, because when he gets down, he's yellow when he gets to Earth, and then he sees a yellow fucking Volkswagen while he's dying. He's like, so if that Volkswagen was blue, would he have turned blue? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but again, that's nitpicking. Let's get back to the pluses of this movie. The action in this movie is really good. Unlike Michael Bay, Travis Knight he minimalizes the action. The action is rewarded and earned. You know what I mean? So when you get to an action sequence, it's just not shit blowing up for no reason. The action, when it happens, you're like, there is no other choice but this action sequence to happen. That was awesome. There was just things that were happening, like when Bumblebee, he's not trying to fight. Things are happening to him to make him fight. There are things that are happening to characters in the movie. There aren't just stupid situations happening for no freaking reason. I think everything in this movie is very realistic and has a flow to it. Very realistically. There's a scene in the movie where Bumblebee walks in a house, basically destroys her house on accident. Again, fish out of water. He's doing this E.T. thing where E.T. got up with the robe and he was getting drunk and shit and walking around. They have a Bumblebee scene of that. But if this was a Michael Bay film, you would have came back in the next scene, the house would have been fine, nothing would have been happened. Here's a perfect example. To make the Revenge of the Fallen. Bumblebee's in the garage, and the little sliver of the cube gets out, and all the little appliances in his house are attacking everything. The house is getting shot at. Bumblebee comes out, shoots at them in broad daylight in a freaking residential neighborhood, blows up shit. Cops and firemen are there spraying on the house, and they're talking about, well, now we get to go on vacation. Nobody's getting arrested, nobody's getting questioned or anything. They're still packing to go on fucking, they gotta go to college, you just get your house blown up. That kind of shit does not happen in this movie. When the house gets messed up, she's standing there and she's like, I'm fucking screwed. Her mom comes in and there's a reaction that you would have. What the hell happened to our house? You're in deep shit. And an argument happens over this. Very realistic. And I like that. That's one of the things, if you want people to feel like these things that aren't real are real, at least have the humans have human qualities about them so we can relate to them when stuff happens. If a transformer walked through your house and was breaking shit up, you're not going to come home and be like, oh, well, at least we can use that and sell off our insurance. Now we get to go on that vacation. I mean, are you, what? So they don't do that in this movie. Thank you, Travis Knight. The cast again, the guy that plays her little boyfriend, his name is Jorge Lendeborg. I know a lot of people probably know who he is. Junior, I have no idea who he is. His name was Memo in the film. Like that kid. He's really good. His dynamic with Charlie was unbelievable. I like that. Again, there were some other people in there that popped up. Like I said, John Cena, good for what he did. There was a guy named Glenn Thurman. He's the General Wayland. Liked him. The reason why I like him is because, again, they took a guy who was like a character actor. He's an African-American character actor from the 80s. And they threw him in here. And I was like, thank you. That was cool because I had all the stuff I liked from that guy was from the 80s. Loved it. It was just I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but he just fit well in here because he's from the 80s and I hadn't seen him in so long. That was cool, man. And his dynamic with John Ortiz and the agents. John Cena, John Ortiz. John Cena plays Agent Burns. Ortiz plays Agent Powell. And they're from Sector 7, which rings a bell because that's from the first Transformers series. Those guys were pretty cool together. I loved it. And they're the ones who are primarily dealing with the Decepticons that came down who are looking for, who are basically bounty hunters looking for Bumblebee, and that whole dynamic with them dealing with these Decepticons was hilarious. It was some of the funniest shit in the movie is happening with those guys, and I thought that's when John Cena was at his best, was when he was doing some of the comedic stuff, because when he tried to act was not good. The comedic stuff in this movie is genuinely funny. There are some things in here that had me literally laughing out loud. I don't do that in films. I consider myself a funny guy, so it's hard to make me laugh. But I haven't laughed this hard literally since the first movie, which has a ton of laughs in it. This one is... If you could erase all the other ones aside from Dark of the Moon and said, this was the first movie, 2007 would be the sequel, and then Dark of the Moon, wrap it up, you would be fucking gold with this. That's all this whole Transformers shit needed. And cut out some of the continuity stuff, but if you have this for like Bumblebee, Transformers, Dark of the Moon, that is an incredible little trilogy, and that's going to be basically my little trilogy. That's how I'm going to watch these movies from now on. I'm going to watch Bumblebee 2007, Dark of the Moon, and that's it. I'm done. Because that little trilogy wraps itself up. I think it wraps itself really well. Let's get to some of the other little things in here. Again, I pretty much went into everything, but let's just get into one more little aspect of it, and that is the story between her and her dad. The deepness of this. The heartwarming part of this story is loss and finding things and how things can be fixed, which is a metaphor for, like, you know, cars and things being damaged and how things can be repaired. And when somebody's alone, noticing what are the problems with somebody when they are alone and being able to deal with that, especially when you're a teenager. It is, because I went through that. My dad died when I was 14 years old, so I really connected with what she was going through in this film with her father dying at a young age, literally around the same age my father went away, and people moving on, but you're not. But you're still trying to learn who you are, and you don't have all the money in the world, and you're still trying to figure everything out, and then shit gets just thrown your way, and you're trying to figure it out the best way you can. Hailee, who plays Charlie, does such a good job. I give her a thumbs up. I've got to go see this movie again, just because it's just a well put together movie. There's a lot in this movie, a lot of references to the Gen 1 Transformers, and a lot of references to fans of, like, the original Transformers the movie, which is still my favorite Transformers movie of all time. If you want to talk about non-live action, but just all time, Transformers the movie is my favorite Transformers movie, but you can't really compare it to a live action movie all that much. But this one, there's some nods to that movie big time in this one, more than any of the other Transformers movies. And universally, that Transformers the movie is recognized as one of the movies that people, that is the bar that all these Michael Bay films were supposed to not only match, but, you know, surpass. And he didn't. You know, you couldn't surpass a fucking Japanese 1987 fucking Transformers Hasbro movie, Michael Bay. Come on, man. But I don't think anybody could, because it's a cartoon, and obviously it's nostalgic. And again, a lot of people went to this van screening was fanboys like me who praised the film. But across the board, if you're going to check out all the critic ratings, this movie is being getting a lot of good reviews, and it deserves it. It's a really good film. I give it 2 thumbs up. It's one of my favorite films of the year. Go check it out if you have the opportunity. It's a good family film. You can take anybody of any age to go see this film. You don't need to see any of the other films, because again, they threw continuity out the window. This one is its own film from beginning to end. It's not trying to set up a sequel. The sequel is already set up because it already has one. That's the 2007 Michael Bay film. So, and it actually sets itself up with that. The last shot of the movie is him turning into the Camaro, the same one that Sam finds in 2007. So, continuity, schmontinuity, who gives a fuck, right? But for what it's worth, these movies are always supposed to be fun, which is why I still own all the other ones, because I love Transformers that much. But at the same time, at the end of the day, these are just Transformers movies. They're not life-changing documentaries. They're not movies trying to win Academy Awards. So even the worst Michael Bay films, if you gave me one right now and said, watch Revenge of the Fallen, gave me some popcorn and a few beers, I'm going to enjoy myself, because it's a fucking Transformers movie. Come on, who are we fooling here, okay? Let's not get carried away. It's a Transformers movie. I'm just glad we can see any of them. We have 6 now. 6 Transformers movies in 11 years. I'll take that. And if they're rebooting it with this one, or they're going to move on in another direction, I would say keep making them. You know what I'm saying? The ones that I love are still here. They're going to eventually make enough where there's going to be one out there somebody loves. And I think this one is it's a different film, but it fits in all the rest of them. But I think this is the one, Bumblebee, which is going to be a lot of people's favorites because it's just a great Transformers movie, and it hits home on so many levels. But it also invites in new people by also saluting the people who got this franchise to where it was now, and that's the people like me who grew up Transforming or Gen 1 Transformers and watching the show and just paying for the overpriced toys and just can't sleep at night because you're going to get the big freaking whatever on Christmas the next day, you know? It's just brought back so many memories and hit home in the right places. So I definitely guarantee you check it out. And that'll wrap this one up. This is the Fanboy Film Network Galaxy Class spoiler review of Bumblebee. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Be safe out there.